raising testosterone to levels that are thousands and thousands of nanograms per deciliter. And it feels amazing, right? It's like and it's kind of like a drug. What's going on, everybody? And today I'm going to be answering the question of does testosterone make you lose hair? First, I just want to make a differentiation real quick between testosterone dosages and TRT. Because a lot of people, when they talk about TRT, what they actually mean is that they are taking the very high dosages of testosterone for the sake of bodybuilding or for the sake of boosting other instances of life, and they're not just talking about strictly a TRT dose. A TRT dose is something that's going to replace the normal dose of testosterone in the body, which is going to be something around, from anywhere from 300 nanograms to around 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. But if somebody's taking testosterone at 300 milligrams to 500 milligrams per week, which can put their levels at something like 3,000, 4,000 nanograms per deciliter, at this point this is definitely not TRT, and you have jumped now into a different realm, which is just very high levels of testosterone for the sake of bodybuilding or gaining muscle or other athletic or other endeavors altogether. So that's a big differentiation to make. So this is gonna dictate basically the answer to the question, does testosterone make you lose hair? Because this is gonna dictate two major things that will happen as a result of taking that testosterone. Number one is the testosterone conversion to DHT. And as I said in a video before about hair loss, DHT is not the only androgen that is responsible for hair loss, even though it is probably the most devastating androgen when it comes to hair loss, because it has a very high, probably the highest binding affinity to the scalp tissue. But other androgens as well in the male body can also result in hair loss, and that of course includes testosterone, DHEA, DHEAS, and a plethora of other androgens that we talked about in the hair loss video that also can definitely contribute to hair loss, and that should be watched for, and this is all going to be included in the hair loss strategy that you have, because it's not solely going to be based on DHT. So basically this is number one. Two will be the conversion of testosterone to estrogen, or namely estradiol, E2. And this is something else that has to be managed. And I'm going to talk about each one of them in detail on how to be able to manage these things, and ultimately the way that you're going to be able to measure the concentration of these different hormones in your body is going to be through having your blood tested to see exactly what's your testosterone total and free, what is your DHT total and free, and what's your E2 or estradiol levels, so you can basically figure out what you need to work on and what needs to be adjusted to become in range as a total or complete strategy for health, and as a strategy for things like hair loss, but also prostate enlargement and even eventually prostate cancer. So this is definitely going to be one of the things that you will have to get, which is a blood test. Now, the DHT conversion, based on how much you boost your testosterone manually, this is basically going to dictate how much DHT you're going to have in your body. So if somebody takes 500 milligrams of testosterone, which is basically somebody's essentially doing a testosterone cycle at this point, And if somebody does that, then if testosterone converts to DHT at the rate of 5 to 10%, then you're looking at a multiples of increase in your dihydrotestosterone levels compared to your natural levels. So if your natural levels were at like something like 700 nanograms per deciliter for total testosterone, and your free testosterone were something like 3 to 13 or 12.5, and you increase your testosterone by 6-fold, then you're looking at a 6-fold increase in the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, with all the devastating effects on hair that this is going to have by doing that. So if even you take finasteride or dutasteride, you're looking at a dose that you're going to might have to take 6-fold the dose of finasteride or dutasteride that you were taking to control your natural DHT levels once you jump on this high level of testosterone to be able to control it. And this is just for like somebody that's doing a very high level of testosterone that puts them at 3,000 to 5,000 nanograms per deciliter. For somebody that's doing even TRT, and they're only taking something that would put them at 700-800 nanograms per deciliter, it would ultimately be the blood tests that will dictate the DHT levels in their blood, and will ultimately dictate how much they need to control their DHT to get it in range as far as as to not have any hair loss from that excessive DHT in the body. And a lot of people, when they think about DHT, they just think from the perspective of hair loss, especially people that are concerned about hair loss. But I just want to point out that this is way bigger than hair loss. If you have excessive DHT in your body and it's above range, then it is essential that you get it back in range, because this is going to affect your prostate health as far as prostate enlargement, and even eventually could probably lead to prostate cancer, which is something that I hope nobody goes through, but this is something that is very, very essential when you think about your DHT levels. As the PSA screening that people do for prostate cancer, I think this is just way too far, way too late of a test. I think the androgens in the body have to be controlled, and one of the main androgens that have to be controlled is basically DHT, as to prevent or lower the probability of the onset of any prostate problems, whether enlargement or cancer in the first place. So do not wait until your PSA levels all of a sudden are too high, and you're wondering why did this happen. Is because of all these androgens, and namely DHT, that have been accumulating in your system so much, and you left your DHT to stay high for such a long time, and eventually it contributed to your prostate problems. So that's a point when it comes to that. Now, the estrogen, there are a lot of people that have associated their hair loss with low estrogen, low estradiol levels in their body. So estradiol is something that needs to be also in range in the male body. You don't want your estradiol to be too low, and you definitely don't want it to be too high. So estradiol is one of those things that some people have noticed, or they have noticed a correlation between very low estradiol levels in their body and actually hair loss. And in some studies, people have found that when you rub basically estradiol cream on your scalp, that this is something that has been shown to some extent to be able to reverse some aspects of hair loss, specifically androgenic alopecia, which is what we're talking about here. Male pattern baldness is what we're talking about, specifically caused by the male androgens. So another point to consider is how much will you be boosting your testosterone, dihydrotestosterone, and the ratios of everything, the ratio of testosterone to DHT, the ratio of your testosterone to estrogen, and making sure that all these things are balanced. And if you introduce an imbalance, that's also something that can contribute to hair loss and to breakouts of acne in your face as well. It's not just hair loss, right? So it's essential that you get all these different hormones in the range and under control. And getting blood tests to confirm and to check everything is absolutely essential. Now, I just want to mention a main point about, TRT, or not just TRT, just administering testosterone at higher levels. And this point is that, people always, I think a lot of people overestimate or overstate, or they hype the hormone testosterone so much, as if, the more testosterone is always better. Get testosterone, you want to get testosterone, you want to have high testosterone. But actually, that's not true. For longevity and just for health, it's not amazing to have super high levels of testosterone in your body. It's not amazing to have 3, 4, 5,000 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone in your system when, you should be having around 700 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone in your system. And why do I say that? I say that because high testosterone is associated with so many different health problems, and among them would be something like blood pressure, increased blood pressure. Among them would be something like increased prostate problems for men. Among them would be a lot of the aesthetic stuff that we talked about, like hair loss, like breakouts of acne all over the skin. As a result of the blood pressure and some other stuff like heart rate metrics that will change as a result of taking the excessive testosterone, the cardiovascular health of the human will suffer. So this is just to put the whole, more testosterone, we all want testosterone is, hype or, overestimation, basically to sleep, because it's not like that. Testosterone is something that is needed in the body, just like all the other hormones, just like E2, estradiol, just like DHT to an extent. And I personally prefer the DHT is in the ultimate lower range of normal. It's just what I prefer because I have a history of prostate problems, especially for people that have a history of prostate problems. If your grandfather or whatever got prostate enlargement, or if you've had a history of prostate problems in your family, you want to keep your DHT at the lowest possible range, if not even below the lowest, a little bit below the lowest of the normal range. So this is just a statement about DHT. So basically, testosterone does it, and will it make you lose hair? The question is, ultimately, it depends on how much you're raising the levels of your androgens by. If you're raising the level of androgens in your body by way too much, such that it will definitely cause destruction to the hair follicle, then the answer is yes. If your normal testosterone used to be 700 nanograms per deciliter, and you were already, as a male, losing hair on that, then you get into TRT and you raise that to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, then the probability will be higher that you lose hair, because you just increased testosterone, and thus, as a percentage, increased the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. So now you have more androgens in the sense of testosterone and dihydrotestosterone and the byproducts of testosterone to be able to attack and accumulate around the scalp and the follicle and cause destruction to the hair follicle. So this is definitely something that you don't want. Other aspects will include cardiovascular health will definitely take a hit. Blood pressure will take a hit, as far as what I talked about in the sense of the prostate problems. So testosterone is one of those things that needs to be in range, and it's kind of like a drug, right? Because it feels so good to have high testosterone, and I've experimented with that before, and I'm guilty of that. raising testosterone to levels that are thousands and thousands of nanograms per deciliter, and it feels amazing, right? It's like and it's kind of like a drug. It's kind of like a drug, and it's kind of like an upper drug, not even an upper drug, a drug that's an upper that makes you so euphoric and so amazing, and you have a lot of muscle and you have a lot of energy, and you recover faster in the gym, and you feel like more of a man. And man, I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing. Having thousands of nanograms of testosterone in your system is amazing. It's an amazing feeling. But is it good for you? Is it healthy for you? Ultimately, the answer is, the honest answer is no. And when you look at the people who are like the top anti-aging researchers, not the pro scientists and not the anecdotal people on fucking Reddit, the people who are top anti-aging researchers that I respect a lot, like Dr. David Sinclair, and many others that are concerned with aging, and even somebody like Brian Johnson with his blueprint, even though he's not a scientist, but he does experiment a lot with himself. They say, and they know actually for a fact that raising your testosterone too much, or even getting on TRT, if your testosterone levels are in the normal range, is not something that is gonna be conducive to life expectancy, increase in life expectancy and longevity. So if your concern is longevity and basically enhancing life expectancy, living as much as you can, as long as you can, then definitely boosting testosterone so much is going to lower the probability that you live a long life. So this is something to consider for the people that maybe experimenting with high levels of testosterone, or looking to get on TRT just for the sake of trying to get on TRT, but they really don't have any problems with their testosterone. And I was guilty of that in the past, like I said, because many times where my testosterone used to be in around 720, 760 nanograms per deciliter, and I just upped it too much. You end up going through this, ups and downs of testosterone that are unneeded, and they take a toll on the body, because as you suppress your natural levels, it does take a while for your body to come back to your just normal endogenous testosterone production. So, to make a long story short, definitely if you take testosterone, which is ultimately, even if it's TRT or testosterone cycle for the sake of gaining muscle, you will definitely be increasing your normal levels, or the levels of testosterone that you have, way more than normal. And if you're somebody who's a hypogonadal male that has like 150 to 100 nanograms per deciliter in their body, and they feel like trash, maybe then the risks would be more, or the rewards would be more than the risks. But if you're somebody that has a normal testosterone in your body, and you're able to optimize that with working out and eating healthy and stuff like that, then for longevity, I think that definitely the risks would be more than the rewards in that sense. And with that being said, check out the blog on perfecthumanx.com, where I'm going to structure this information in an organized way for everybody to benefit, including discussing my own results for my blood tests that I have done, and how I'm using different protocols to control my DHT, which came out to be so high, and how this can have a devastating effect for your health, specifically the prostate health, if you have high DHT levels in your body. So that being said, stay healthy, stay wise, and always strive to be the perfect version of you.